All right, aloha friends. Brian Goss with GM Sports Media. This is Game Time with the Goss, powered by Grey Wolf Promotions. We're always powered by Grey Wolf Promotions. Need the best swag for your next high school season and playoff run. End your search and turn to Grey Wolf Promotions. Located in Hearst, Grey Wolf caters to everyone across the DFW Metroplex and around the state. T-shirts, hats, bags, and more. Grey Wolf Promotions has the best merch for your favorite high school team. Serving you for over 30 years, contact them at 817-868-9653 or email sales@gravewolfpromotions.com. My man Bill Webb and his staff will take care of you this season. Uh, Today's guest is my man Kenny Matthews, the Chocolate Bear, Friday Night Glory, and Inside High School Sports. And we're going to be diving into the softball playoffs as the UIL softball playoffs get underway. And we'll look at some good matchups here in the bi-district round and some teams that we think can make deep playoff runs. Kenny, welcome back to the show.
Always a pleasure, Goss. Like you said yesterday, it's our time of the year now. So next 5 weeks, man, is going to be fun.
Yeah, today, Wednesday, there's several games around the area, several good games. But overall, in the bi-district round, let's kind of dive into some of the top matchups. I mean, we see it in every sport. District 5, 6A and District 6, 6A always have really good teams. And unfortunately, one of those teams is a real playoff contender, has to be eliminated in round one. The one that catches my eye, I don't know if it does for you. You've seen both teams, Allen and Hebron, in the first round,
Absolutely.
and they get started on Thursday. Just you've seen both teams. What are your thoughts on that matchup?
Boy, I think they're pretty evenly matched. I talked to Coach Herndon last week. Well, not Herndon any longer. Coach Chelsea is what I call her, since I don't want to butcher her last name anymore since she got recently married. But talking with Coach Shuttle and her, they both were kind of looking at this saying, wow, this is going to be a shame that one of these teams is probably a 4-round team, deep type of team that's going to be eliminated in the first round. The first game's at Hebron tomorrow night. I will be there. I think it all comes down to pitching. It's going to be who's going to be the best pitcher. Is it going to be Kate, or is it going to be Yaya? Who's going to be able to minimize the runs? I think in that game is going to be the one who's going to win this series. And it would not surprise me at all if there is an if game on Saturday for sure. The power in Allen's lineup is ridiculous. The Chuns and they're just, Abby Red Fincannon has been hitting the ball. I mean, they've put up some power numbers, and Hebron, they've just been really scrappy. Look out for Abby Chung. She's kind of the unheralded one in that bunch. She's got a lot of spunk. She's a spark plug for that team. So, like I said, I think it will go 3 games, and I will be at all 3 if that's the case.
Yeah, Abby Chun for Hebron is leading the team in home runs. She's up there in batting average. Molly Crowder is the team leader. You mentioned Allen. Yeah, their offensive firepower led by Addie Fincannon, Red, and then 2 freshmen who you've seen and talked to, Claire McKeever and Harper Dennis.
Yes.
28 home runs combined. Fincannon right behind them with 10. Yeah, the pitching is going to be great. I mean, Kate Busing has more experience. She's
Right.
on a Southern Nazarene. She just passed 500 strikeouts. And then on the other side, Yaya Morgan, not as much experience, just a sophomore. So we'll see how she settles in for her first playoff game.
She's pitched really well down the stretch too. She really has. Seems like she's really caught a groove and hitting at the plate too. She had a bomb the other day, so look out for that.
Yeah, I mean, Allen has been a great story. 25-3 overall, just won District 6, 6A, 16-0. They're riding an 18-game winning streak. This is one of the better Allen teams I can remember.
Talking to Coach Shuttle about that when I did the first game that I covered with her this year, she said the mixture of experience and freshmen, she said this has been her most exciting team to coach at Allen. And she's had some good Allen teams. So it's, that's high praise. And she said that she said the senior leadership on this team has been the best for her. She said that they accommodated the freshmen and the freshmen have responded. And like you said, they pounded the base softball all year.
Another one in that District 5, District 6 matchup, and you just saw recently Flower Mound. They went to the state semis last year, just came up one really a run short of going to the championship game. They're taking on a very good Plano West team. Just what are your thoughts about that matchup?
Yeah, I got to see Plano West about a week and a half ago. I guess it was a couple of weeks ago against Allen, and they played pretty well against Allen. Allen proved to have too much firepower late in that game, but I think the thing with Flower Mound is that now that Bella is back to 100%, she's not
No,
on a pitch.
Flores, yeah.
Yeah, now that she's not on a pitch count, she's not injured. That's going to be a tough. They're going to be a hard beat because she really pitched well against Hebron the other night. She only gave up one run against Hebron at Hebron in that 2-1 game that they won. She's been a force at the plate. She went 2 for 3 also in that game against Hebron and brought in a run. I love obviously Big Nell, the shortstop for Keller. She's had a fantastic year. The thing I like about Keller, and I mean, it's not Keller, excuse me, Flower Mound. Flower Mound. The thing I like about them most is they always seem to be able to scratch runs. They don't rely on power to get runs. They always have things in motion, like against Hebron. They're sacrifice bunting, squeeze plays. They always seem to have those bases just churning. So one, it puts pressure on the defense. Secondly, they always got people in motion, which is huge to me. If you got Bella, and they played sound defense. In the 2 games that I've seen, the 3 games I've seen this year that Flower Mound has played, they've had 0 errors. So they're going to be a tough team to beat in this. And when I talked to Bella last week, she said that tough loss to Waco Midway, obviously last year, has been kind of a driving force for that team to get past that, to get to Austin. So we'll see. I mean, it's not going to be an easy road for sure. But yes, I think that Flower Mound should win this series. But I think it will be a little tougher than maybe people anticipate.
Yeah, I think with offense seems kind of on the same level, Plano
Mm-hmm.
with the Flower Mound. The difference
Mm-hmm.
obviously is the pitching. Flower Mound's one of the more deeper pitching
Yeah.
rotations with Bella again coming back. She's near or close to 100%. And then got to mention Audra Kruk, who
Yeah.
did a great job in Bella's
Yeah.
absence. I think
Yes.
for like the first 6 weeks of the season, she was outstanding. She was coming off an injury her junior year, so to come back and have the start she had, Flower Mound can go to her for a game or two. And then
Mm-hmm.
I know last year Daphne Gallison was
Yeah.
pitching, so you
Yeah.
can always have her in the back pocket. So yeah, I mean, but it's an experienced squad. A lot
Yeah.
of kids
Very
back
much.
from that state semifinal run with Addie Bicknell and Nayla Hurst in the outfield. Yeah, that's going to be the difference for Flowermont, I think. But Plano West has some good hitters: Brooke Riesener and Abby Jennings,
Listener.
Abby Kuhler. But yeah, it's going to be they're going to have to rely on pitching and getting those outs. Kendall looks like Kendall Prowl.
Yeah.
I think it's
Well,
Prowl or Prowell.
well, yeah.
Uh, yeah, she's going to have to be on her A game to get
Yeah.
to get some wins on this Flowermont team.
I think Coach Lariba said it to me at the Geyer game that I did with them. He said the experience that she got when Bella was out for the 6 weeks is going to be huge for them playoff time. So we'll see
Audra,
if yeah. So he said we'll see if that pays is to tuition for tuition going forward here in the playoffs, because he says I won't have to pound Bella for every inning in the playoffs. So
yeah.
we'll see.
The team to watch here in 6A D1, Waxahachie Indians,
Gosh, yeah.
which
Good gosh.
which I haven't seen them all season, but they're 33-1 and just rolling. I don't know if you haven't seen them, have you?
No, I haven't seen them yet, and I really want to see them big time. I mean, the season that they have had. I mean, I remember at the beginning of the year when they were either 10-1 or 12-1, something like that. We were like, well, is this going to last? Well, it ended up lasting. And I mean, they got a lot of staying power. So I'm really looking forward to maybe seeing them next week for sure if they advance. I'm probably going to ride out the Hebron Island series, if it goes all three. So it's going to be tough order for me to see them this week. But if they do advance, I really want to see them because obviously you got Nichols, you got Barnes, you got Landers, who's having just a
Monster.
monster year. I mean, what, 94 RBI? She's got the RBI record now. Um,
Fantastic. Yeah.
and she's what, one home run short of Kennedy Bradley's
Yeah. Same.
DFW. Yep. I mean, I think we said on the telecast that she's hit 1 out of 5 one out of 5 at bats is over the fence, and I think 7 out of 10 at bats are extra base hits. I mean, the slugging percentage for her is just unreal. And then, from what I understand, she's a phenomenal fielder too. So I really want to see her a lot.
Yeah. Michaela Landers, just a sophomore, had an incredible year last season. And then just to keep it going here, her sophomore year, she's played on a national level. But yeah, Waxahachie, they're playing Temple. I have Friday in Temple and then Saturday, potentially a doubleheader in Waxahachie. So there might be a chance there to go see them
Mhm.
play. But yeah, 33-1. They're on a 25 game winning streak.
Wow.
So, start of the season, trying to figure out some freshman pitchers coming in, and I was told about this Macy Barnes, and she's been lights out, Kenny.
Yes.
She's just a freshman, and she plays on that level with Michaela, national level.
Mhm.
Man, they've been riding her, and she's delivered.
She's answered the bell. I mean, you worry about a freshman in the playoffs, but I remember a decent freshman just 4 years ago that they rode all the way to the state championship game in Geyer and Finley Montgomery. So it can be done. It's not. And then think about the job that Mays did, for Melissa for them. When her freshman year. So I mean, you can get a freshman to steer you the way. You just worry about the inexperience, but man, I mean, the way they're hitting the ball with Nichols and Landers, I mean, she doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, that lineup's going to give her a little breathing room from each game. So, yes, I really want to see them next week for sure. Maybe this Saturday if there's not an if game.
Yeah, rounding out 6A, we have to talk about Geyer just coming off their fourth straight district championship. Last 3 seasons, they've gone at least to the Final Four, but trying to get over that hump with Coach Medford, our guy Keith Medford, trying to get
I
that state
know.
championship. They ran into Forney, which it looks like it's going to be a rematch in the semis between Geyer and Forney.
Mhm.
Do you see that happening? Do you see them meeting in
Yeah,
the state
you,
semis?
and you gotta like the deal with Forney. I mean, they've got having those two pitchers, at Forney, that's really going to be a big advantage. Going into these 3 game sets. I always thought that especially when you play like a double header on Saturday, if it's an if game, you always want to have a fresh arm come in or a different look at that point in time. And I do give Forney a little, on par with Finley on that. The offense will be the big key for me. Who's going to get the timely hit? And you also have noticed that Finley Montgomery from Geyer, her bat's awakening here the last 3 or 4 weeks. She's hit a lot of big. I think she's 6 for 7 in the last, her last 7 at bats with 3 home runs. They got Joyner batting, I believe, third now for them, and Chloe O'Brien batting first. If they can get the middle to the bottom of that order to get on base, I really do like Geyer's chance. Geyer slightly over Forney. Now, the thing about Forney, their district didn't really test them as much as Geyer's did, obviously, because Geyer, they it was top heavy in their district.
Right.
So it'll be really interesting to see when they step up in competition how Forney goes. But their experience. Coach Idle knows what he's doing over there in Santos and gosh, the other girl's name.
Pitts, Avery Pitts, and Amy
Yeah,
Santos.
Pitts.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, man, I'd ride that for a while for sure.
Yeah,
And
I would take Forney if they're on their A game. I don't know who
mhm.
can stop them
Yeah,
in Region 2. Region 1 here in 6AD2, Geyer has a little bit of a test because on the same side of their bracket is Boswell and Keller playing in round
But
one. Two very good teams. Keller,
yeah,
obviously, a lot of experience in the playoffs. Geyer, Geyer Keller matchups over the years. And Boswell's having a heck of a year with Harley Malone and their freshman Aubrey
they
Hernandez,
brought
Addie
out there.
Watson. Great pitching
And
depth there. So they're going to have to meet up eventually, one of those two teams with Geyer. And then the other side of the bracket, we can't forget Byron Nelson, who's having a historic season.
Hambrick, good gosh, yeah, they've
They're,
been a kind of a surprise for me.
they're
Hambrick,
30
wow.
wins, three losses, and one tie. They've found ways to win. I mean, I saw them a couple weeks ago against Keller, and they
Mhm.
found a way to win that game. And they won a district championship. Danny Hadnot, their head coach, doing a terrific job. Their pitching depth is there. I mean, Abby Hicks has experience. Meredith Hambrick, aka Murph, she's been lights out. It's hard to put up any runs on her. And then
Yes.
just timely hitting. They don't really hit for power, but they got a lot of speed. And that could be a potential matchup for the Region 1 championship, Geyer and Byron Nelson.
Doesn't it? It still seems like that. Geyer has to go through a gauntlet every year to get to there, though. I mean, and they've proven that they have the moxie to do it. And I
It
think
just
it's
looks like the last three years they
yeah.
kind of run out of gas because they played this tough playoff run.
They have to beat the Kellers, and late in the year they had to beat South Lake one year. I mean, it's just they go through a gauntlet, and like you said, I think that the first year when they did that, they had the Robles pitcher that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
helped Finley,
yeah.
and I think that that's been the missing ingredient a little bit these last 3 years because they've had to have pitch Finley every inning. Now, don't get me wrong, she's a horse. She steps up. She steps up to the occasion every time. You just you don't want to keep going to the well every time. you know? But yeah, I mean it's a testament to them that they do get there because I mean obviously it's the toughest road to get to state is through that region for sure.
Talking with Kenny Matthews, Friday Night Glory, and Inside High School Sports. Obviously, in 5A, you got to start at the top. Back-to-back state champs, the Melissa Cardinals, trying to do something no other team in the
Yeah.
largest two classes have done, win three straight state titles. Do you see anything in their game this season that this run's going to end?
Well, people have asked me throughout the year, is this Melissa team, as good as last year's? And I keep going back to the point, you can't lose a Cajun and a Paisley in your order and not be as good. I mean, but the difference is very, very small because you've had the winners step up, you've had Shug step up, at the plate for them. To me, for Melissa, it's just about them playing with themselves. As long as they don't beat themselves by with errors or walks of that nature, I think we're going to have a rematch with Barbers Hill. I just don't see there's any way that it's not going to happen. I mean, I think it's Melissa and Barbers Hill game to they have to play a C game and the other team has to play an A game for them to lose and to lose two games in a series. I could see maybe one, but not two. No, I just don't see that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many flips Cassie is going to win, how many single game matchups they're going to be.
yeah. Cassie and her flips. Well, I mean, and think about the job that Mays has done this year. Throw out the game that she played against Katy, where she gave up, I believe, 7 runs. She's got a 1 point something ERA, even with
1.25.
even with that game equated into that. And I mean, and she was hurt. She had a bad ankle. And Casey's kind of said she regretted even pitching her in that game. But I understood why she wanted to pitch her is obviously because it's Katy, it's a big game. But the job that she's really done this year and just solidifying, her leadership. I think she's the quiet leader on that team. And I think the rest of the team just kind of feeds off of it. And Finley Williams and Kennedy Bradley have just had phenomenal years. Of course, Lulu too. So it's the beat goes on with them.
Yeah, Finley, Lulu, and Kenny Browley, top three on the team in batting average, home runs. Finley in her second year with the Cardinals, hitting 622 and 18 home runs. Not as many home runs as the last couple of years, but they're up there.
You'll take that on base percentage. He'll definitely take that.
Yeah, looking at the Region 2, 5A D1, there's a potential matchup, I think, in round, and actually the next round, second round with Frisco Reedy, who's,
Reading.
very good team.
Hmm.
Other than that, maybe they'll bounce back and meet up Walnut Grove again,
Yeah,
or
and I
Lake Belton, who beat them in game one last season. That could be a playoff rematch too.
and what round would that be with Belton? Would that
Lake
be the
Belton would be regional final
final, regional final? Okay, that's what would be the regional final.
because Lake
Okay.
Belton knocked off Walnut Grove last year,
Yes,
faced
yes.
Melissa in the regional final. So we could see that a potential matchup again. Walnut Grove versus Lake Belton in the semis, and then would have would
Did
have
I read?
the
Did I
winner play
read that?
Melissa.
Did I read that right? That Melissa's won like 123, that won their last 126 games, something like that.
I mean, they only had what, two losses 2 years ago, and then one loss last year. They're 27-2 this season, so it's a ridiculous number.
That's ridiculous, man. Wow.
Looking
Yeah,
at
I mean,
Region One, you have Aledo versus Birdville, which is a good first round matchup.
mhm.
Aledo again, that experienced squad, a lot of playoff games the last 4 or 5 years. They went to the Final four times the last 5 seasons. The only team in the two largest classes to do that.
Wow.
And then you look at another great second round matchup with Richland, who's 28-3, having one of their best years all time. And then they could take on Burleson Centennial in area, another team that has a lot of playoff success.
Wow, spirits. Yeah.
This is a kind of a different Alito group.
Yeah, I
They've
was
always had
thinking
that
about
pitching depth, and it's still there. I mean, Riley Marks doing an incredible job. Tempe Perry, uh,
Perry.
Lily Heckenthorn, I think is her name. There's depth there that maybe not as big of names as the last few years, but
And it's almost like we've forgotten Alito a little bit. It seems like
yeah,
they've kind of been where they're not the hunted, or the top dog in this, and you wonder if that allows them to play free and loose. I think that the last we've seen this run when Macy Graff and all them, they always seem to have gotten tight in the championship game and the state semifinal game, and you wonder if that was the pressure of having one loss teams or being ranked number one. You carry that burden a little bit. Now that you fly a little under the radar here, will you be able to play free and loose? People are not shooting for you. Maybe you're not getting everybody's best game anymore. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out.
yeah. I mean, and they can't take this first round matchup lightly.
Nope.
Birdville. I don't know what's going on.
Hadley, right?
I don't know
Yeah,
what's going on with Birdville. Maybe they've had some injuries, but kind of not the season I expected. They've lost 11 games this year, but Reagan Jordan is a committed player. They have several others with Evelyn Schwartzlander going to
West Locker.
Kentucky and
Yeah,
Katie
I'm
Benavides.
glad you said that.
Yeah, so they have talent there, and as long as because Birdville has to pitch Reagan Jordan,
Right,
every inning pretty much. So,
right,
and
right.
she's been doing it ever since her freshman year. So. But when she's on, she's on. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I might have to get out to a game with Alito and Birdville and see what
See,
goes down there.
do they start tomorrow?
Yeah, Alito
Okay,
Birdville is Thursday and Alito Friday at Birdville, and then if game Saturday at Kennedale.
okay.
But yeah, that second round matchup. Trying to jump ahead here to next week. Could Richland and Burleson Centennial? That'd be a heck of a matchup. Stacy Jennings for Richland just been lights out. Again,
Yeah,
another one of these teams who just focus on one pitcher, and that's Stacy Jennings. She's been incredible. They don't really hit for power, but there's a lot of speed, a lot of steals. And then for Centennial, they have more power. Their pitching depth is really good. I mean,
okay.
you've always had Ellis.
Ellis.
You've had uh,
Who's the backup?
Kendall Game who comes in for relief. but
Hmm.
the big one has been Brooke Maynor, who
Hmm.
she couldn't play last year. She's now playing. She might be the best one of the group. Addison McCarthy is the other one. So they have
Wow.
four really good pitchers, and they can hit. Uh,
Hmm.
so Centennial can
That's
make,
interesting. Centennial's gonna make a run.
but that's going to be an excellent matchup if they match up with Richland.
Right.
Jumping down to D2, 5A D2. I mean, looking at Region One, I mean, beginning of the season, I took Brewer just because Brewer, their experience, a lot of kids were back. There's a lot of pitching there as well. They can hit for power. I don't know. You know, Burleson is a second round matchup, and Burleson can be sneaky good.
Good. Yep.
But yeah, out of that region, and they Brewer has a tough first round with Colleyville Heritage, who
Yeah.
they've had.
Heritage didn't have the year that we kind of used to, but they're still scrappy. And Coach Connerly, I mean, Holloway, she knows what she's doing over there. She's got a lot of experience. So, yeah, I think that was a tough draw for the opening round for them for sure.
Yeah, I would pick Brewer, Cozy Tyson, Avery Welsh, they're back.
Mm-hmm.
They can hit for power.
Power.
Cozy's kind of coming back into the circle pitching wise. And they're getting a lot of contributions elsewhere. I do see Brewer and Burleson meet up in round two. And then I have Argyle versus Joshua in round two as well. In region two, you're more familiar, like you've seen Lovejoy. Is that
Yes.
is that the team to beat out of Region Two and 5AD2?
Talking about having pitching depth. You got Gisela and Izzy, 1 and 1A, and they both can hit too. So I mean, it's not, that's the other thing with them. So we saw them against Melissa. Oh, no, you weren't there. That I saw them against Melissa. Izzy got hit on the hand in that game in the third inning, so she had to come out. So really wasn't a true barometer, I guess you could say. But then the next game, I mean, I think that was what is a 2-1 game against Melissa, I believe it was, or so you know Lovejoy's got I mean, Lopez has got a very, and I think he's got a very good team, but he's kind of still under the radar a little bit if you think about how good his team really is, because a lot of people are not talking about them being a dark horse to get there. But with that pitching depth, man, you're gonna have to beat them, and that's gonna be a tough, tough, tough job to do.
Yeah, game one, Melissa won at Lovejoy 7-3. Then when they came back to Melissa, it was 8-5. But
8-5. Okay,
two
8-5.
very close games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know who can take down Lovejoy. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I have them as my dark horse to get there. I don't know if they're going to win because they would be playing. It would
yeah,
be their.
Lovejoy's first round is a tough draw. White House, who's 21 game winner.
Mhm.
The second round, it's Emerson or the Colony. Maybe the Colony's kind of heating up at the right time, just want a playing game just to get in.
Wow.
Emerson, district champs. But after that, I mean, you have Midlothian Heritage. Frisco Lone Star is also a team kind of down. I thought they'd
Yeah,
be a lot better.
yeah. I saw them against Wakeland last week. Boy, then that was not a contest.
Frisco Liberty versus Frisco Lone Star could be a sneaky good matchup. Really two good pitchers there. Crando's another one. Crando could make a significant run. Mesquite Teat, I mean, if they can get past the second round, maybe. Denison, who's a little more north, but if they can get past Hallsville, watch out for Denison.
they have
Camden
they've
Mack is their Oklahoma State commit, and she pitches, hits home runs. So you might watch out for Denison.
they've had a sneaky good year this year. Very under the radar for sure, Denison. I mean, they even lost a couple of close games, in that district. But yes, they're sneaky. They
Yeah,
might
I
get
mean
to
when you play Melissa Lovejoy and
yeah,
Walnut Grove, your resume speaks for itself.
absolutely. RPI is good for them.
Is there anyone else, any other matchups you're looking forward to? Any dark horses?
I was looking at. Let's see here. try to find my note here. Um,
I
oh,
mean,
I was thinking Prosper Richland. That's what I was thinking.
yeah,
Prosper
Florida.
Richland. Yeah, I think Prosper Richland can have a sneaky run here. I mean, they got Salina in the first round, which, I think, that's a good matchup for them. They're neighbors, basically. So that should be some good atmosphere starting. I believe they start tomorrow.
Yeah,
And
Thursday at Atlanta.
yep. But I mean, you think about how well you got what about half of Prosper's team over there at Richmond, and they've done a phenomenal job for the being a first year team. I mean, whether they 25 wins or 23 wins,
25-6, yeah,
yeah,
district champ.
25, yeah. I mean, so watch for them because I looked at the bracket and I thought that they could get to the fourth round if they get by Salina here in the first round. I thought that they could maybe get to the fourth round.
Yeah, I mean they would probably match up with maybe a Sulphur Springs district 14 4A champion.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Okay.
on the other side, potentially a regional final could be Nevada Community.
Okay. Community. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what it
Community's
was.
having an excellent year, 24-3, playing Pleasant Grove here in By District. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Community's been great. Alyssa Castillo is kind of the experienced veteran pitcher. Abby Ruiz having a heck of a season in the circle for them. So they've done an incredible job. Undefeated district champs in District 13. So that's what I would think Prosper Richland and Community would face in the regional
Community.
final.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, and the thing about it, it kind of reminds me of a little of Prosper Rock Hill the first year, a little bit. If you can get this young team to make a deep run, then the following year, I mean that's when you really think because you've got seniors on the team at that point in time. It could be almost very reminiscent to that, but we can't get ahead of ourselves, even though I tried to.
Yeah. And then you drop down to 3A, you have to talk about Grandview.
Well, I mean, man, we were talking about a little bit about them last night or the other day about, they just seem to hit the ball. I mean, now they're hitting the ball, and when you got Maddie on the mound,
Yeah, Doty, yeah.
it would stun me if they're not hoisting that trophy in 6 weeks. I would be stunned if that doesn't happen because they've clearly been the best 3A team all year.
Yeah, Matty Do and they're trying to get to Austin for the fourth straight
Oh,
season.
gosh,
A lot of
kind of
teams
like
looking,
Geyer, kind
yeah.
of like Geyer.
But Matty Doty's been incredible. Their offense, they still have a potent offense. It's a little different. They graduated some big time hitters, uh,
Mhm.
but if I don't know if they've hit their peak yet. But yeah, they're always a tough out. I mean, KJ Hubbard, we talked about.
Hubbard. Yep.
She's been on, and
She's got 14 homers.
something like that. And if Maddie
Yep.
needs some rest, KJ is a good pitcher as well. So
Pitcher.
expect KJ Hubbard to see some innings.
When I think that sometimes in these games, it always to me would be nice if you're up, eight or seven runs in the fifth inning. Why not give the backup pitcher time to go in there and pitch that inning or two there? Anytime you can save wear and tear on the arm, especially when it starts getting hot, because you and I both know we do those Saturday games, and if you do the if game, you're sun drenched, you're beat, the whole shooting match, and then the kids throw 260 pitches in those two games. Why not have 60 of it be with another pitcher?
Yeah, just save your arm. Just
Yep.
save it where you can. And then I'm just gonna go run down the list. Jumping back to 4A. D2, Brock is a team to watch to make a
Absolutely.
playoff run. They would have to match up with Eagle Mountain eventually, which would be a good matchup. But yeah, Brock is very young. They have 5 or 6 freshman starters, but Allie Coleman, Gator, pitching has been lights out. So we'll see if Brock can take that next step and get back to Austin.
Yeah, it's a shame that Brock gets moved up and they're going to suffer sports wise.
Yeah.
I mean, every sport, Brock is still there. And now they got youngsters to build around, so they might be dominant the next few years.
Yeah, just some other teams, and you can chime in here, but
Mhm.
yeah, Brock, Eagle Mountain can make some significant playoff runs. Van Alstyne coming off a district championship. You have a Golly team who's very good in district and can go a few rounds deep. Going down to 3A, Gunner, Bells, and SNS all were three-way district champs. They can make a deep playoff run. Whitesboro's there with Avery Howerton, the Texas Tech commit. And then just kind of going down to, Boyd too. Boyd Yellow Jackets with Abby Atkinson, the Stafford commit. They're 28-2. They can make a run at 3A D2, but they would have to match up at some point with a team like SNS.
SNS, yeah.
SNS with Hayden Mowry, aka Bam. And then finally, I just talked to her the other day, head coach Lindsey Gage with Tom Bean.
Hmm.
They went 2-10 in district last year, and now they're undefeated district champs and 22 3-2. So look for them to make a significant run in two-way. But yeah, is there just any other?
There's two teams that I don't think we mentioned maybe here, and we probably should, and go back up to 6A would be Timber Creek. I mean, they've had an outstanding year. I mean, they've had, Ava Thomas and Addison Insu Insocio. Is that how you say it?
I'll let that go. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, they've had a really, really good year in a tough district. And then the other one was that we didn't probably mention was Wakeland a little bit with
Yeah,
Lauren McIlvain and Kayla
Mark,
Corsi and
yeah,
Jordan McNeese. I mean, boy, that beating they put down on Lone Star last week was just caught everybody off guard. But I think they've won 16 in a row or something like that. They
yeah.
got
Just
that.
one district,
Mhm.
and then Tiffany, their head coach, Tiffany
Yeah,
Weiss or White,
Weiss. Yeah,
her
Weiss.
first year as head coach,
Yeah, yeah.
and they're district champs. So they could make. Let me look at Wakeland.
They lost. No, they lost to Reedy, didn't they? Wakeland did
One
in this.
game, yeah, they're
Yeah,
one game
yeah,
because they're
yeah,
13-1. But
yeah.
yeah, Wakeland is 5AD2, and that would be actually no, sorry, Wakeland is. I think Wakeland is 5AD1 this year. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
they're D1 this year. Yeah, they're D1. They're D1.
So they would have to face possibly Walnut Grove in round two.
Ooh, that'd be a good match right there. Ooh, that would be good. And I'd hate to not mention Wiley again. But I mean, Avery Novell has had a great year. Anna Cook and
Hey,
Meyer Forbit. The home. They're don't they annually get to the fourth round? I mean,
I mean, second round would be Waxahachie.
yep. Wow. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, that would be delicious. But yeah, that'd be a tough out for Waxahachie. I mean, like it seems like every year Wiley's getting to the fourth round of the playoffs here. To the regional to the regional semis.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you mentioned, Timber Creek, shout out to them on a very good season, district runner-ups in 4-6A. I gotta give a shout out to Mansfield Legacy. I thought
Oh,
they were going to have a drop
yeah.
off after after graduating Natalie Morneau, their star pitcher. I wasn't sure who was going to take her place, but Shayla Gonzalez is one of them. Uh,
Yep.
Going to Cameron up north in Oklahoma. She's been really good, and they can hit too. I mean, Lily Gaudio, who's the
God, it was
all-time home
unreal.
run leader for Legacy, they're co-district champs with Boswell. Yeah, very good season. I did not expect that, but for them to be in this position, just a testament on those girls. They get Eaton in the first round, which is a pretty good matchup too. But
Pretty good matchup. Yeah.
yeah, so
Underrated matchup there. Gaudio and Gonzalez have been just mashing the ball this year. I mean, that is murderous row right in the heart of that order there. So my advice is to maybe try to pitch around Gaudio if you can, because she's going to
normally
match
you can't
right.
because she's lead off. You can
I
walk her,
know.
then
she's
there's
she's on
Gonzalez.
third. She's on third if you walk her.
Yeah,
But
Max Preps, she's hitting 562. Gonzalez right behind, 506. And then, yeah, home runs there. Gaudio has 17 home runs, and Gonzalez has 13. But Gonzalez, a very respectable 270 ERA. So, but
yeah,
I've seen her pitch very well, where she can give up, one run or no runs, and with that lineup, Legacy could make some noise there in 6A.
and it kind of similar to Waxahachie, in a way. Max, she knows they're going to score runs, so she doesn't have to be perfect. If you give up one or two, you're still
Yeah,
probably going to win the game.
yeah,
Looking forward to it, Goss. I mean, we were talking a little bit off camera, a little bit. All the talent seems to be down south. The talented teams. You got Lake Creek, Kingwood, Katy, Barbers Hill, Tomball, LaPorte, Bridgeland. You mix in a Melissa in the top 10, in the state of Texas here. Then it kind of gets down. You get Geyer and Byron Nelson, which, we've kind of talked about their underrated year, Byron Nelson this year. I think they're like 16 per max preps. But, are we going to get off the snide in 6A and have a 6A team in the Metroplex
yeah.
have the gold? I mean,
It's
I
been,
haven't seen it yet, personally. Yep.
now
Yep.
since 2017, Keller with those girls and Brian Polar, and yeah, it's
So
been
since
been a while.
Cordoka, and
Yeah,
and we have not seen a 6A champion, and so I want to see it. Before we get too old, I want to see it. I want to enjoy it. I mean, we get the 5As, we get some 4As and 3As, but we need to get that 6A one. We need to finally get over the hump. So, Geyer, one of you guys, you got to do it for us, and I would love for Coach. I mean, personally, I'd love to see Coach Medford do it for sure for obvious reasons. He's just been a pillar and a great individual to deal with all these years, and he's been so close. And you hate to see good people not finally, get that final crown. So with Finley Montgomery this year, he's got the horse to take him to it. Is the lineup can hit or not? We'll find out.
that'll do another episode of Game Time with the Goss, powered by Great Wolf Promotions. He's Kenny Matthews with Friday Night Glory Inside High School Sports. And before I let you go, Kenny, uh, where can we follow you? You got a new Twitter account.
Yes, it's at Kenny Matthews, #1, all lowercase. That is me. You'll see my grin face with
Yeah.
my beautiful wife on it. You will see it. It is me, I promise.
Make sure to follow Kenny as well as Friday Night Glory and Inside High School Sports.
Oh, and also on Inside High School Sports, can I plug one more thing?
Go
This
ahead.
Sunday, we're doing the softball power hitters. Will be my segment this week. So we have 3 power hitters from the Metroplex this year. Be on about 10:20 Sunday morning and about 11:20 Sunday night on Channel 5, Inside High School Sports.
Awesome job. Well, always appreciate the time, buddy, and enjoy
Always,
the
buddy.
first round.
That's our favorite time.
That will do it for another episode of Game Time with the Goss, powered by Grey Wolf Promotions. And shout out to our other partners, Canine Kind Resort in Justin, Texas. Check out our website, gmsportsmedia.com, for your playoff stories and playoff schedules. And follow us across all social media platforms. Well, until then, I'm Brian Gossett with GM Sports Media. Enjoy the softball playoffs and aloha.